Yesterday, President Trump issued a statement that maybe Republicans, if they're not going to investigate 2020, maybe they just should stay home in 2022 and not go vote. That one infuriates me more than a little bit. Do you really want the Democrats to expand the Senate? Do you want them to keep the House? Look at what they want to do right now. Look at what the Democrats want to do. They want to have your bank stop and frisk you for the federal government. If you do more than $600 in transactions in a month, the Democrats want your bank to report you to the IRS and provide access and accounting for your bank account. The Democrats want the federal government to provide for abortion on demand. The Democrats want to fund critical race theory in schools. They want to drive up the cost of fossil fuels at a time where fuel is already high. They want you to stop eating beef. They want to do these things through the Green New Deal and the reconciliation process. If they had one more progressive member in the Senate, they could probably get away with it. So are you going to do what Donald Trump wants and stay home next year? In Fulton County, Georgia, a lot of you from around the country, wherever you are, we've gotten calls on this from California, from Wisconsin, from Oklahoma, from Iowa. What's going on with the case in Georgia? The case about the absentee ballots in Georgia got thrown out. Thrown out yesterday. The judge examined the evidence, but he threw it out on a standing issue, said they essentially sued the wrong people. They did. It was stupid. They sued the Republican members of the Fulton County Board of Elections. The Republicans are a minority. If the judge ordered those Republican members to do something, they're the minority of the board. They couldn't do anything. The plaintiffs just assumed that the Republicans would twiddle their thumbs and do nothing and allow the case to proceed, and it blew up in their face. But the judge, by the way, he did allow an examination of the ballots by the Secretary of State's office. They said, nope, they can't find anything. In fact, they examined boxes. Witnesses said, if you look in this box, you'll find what we saw. And what they claimed they saw were ballots, absentee ballots, that looked like they were filled out by a computer and they had no creases. All the absentee ballots are mailed in. They had no creases. They couldn't find them. Person, I didn't mean that box. I meant this other box. So they looked in that box. They didn't find them. So they're like, well, we can't believe the Secretary of State. We've got to see it for ourselves. Well, then hire better lawyers and do a better lawsuit. It's not the rest of our fault you sued the wrong people or had no standing. It was a standing issue. So are you going to stay home next year? Or is this one of those issues where we're supposed to take the president seriously and not literally? Historically, the party in the White House loses the midterm elections. The data right now shows that Republicans have momentum. In Iowa on Tuesday, it was a special election. You can only read so much into special elections, but it's really notable that all these special elections keep going the Republicans' way. And in an Iowa State House seat on Tuesday night, in a seat that has been Democrat for 20 years, the Republicans picked it up. Republicans have the momentum. Virginia is not a purple state. Virginia is not a swing state. Virginia is a blue state. Glenn Youngkin, the Republican, may win it. Are Republicans going to throw away 2022? Because Donald Trump told them to stay home if he didn't get his way. Are you going to do what President Trump wants you to do? Or are you going to stop the left? It is nonsensical to me that Donald Trump would wish for the Democrats to win it all. Is he even thinking about this? If the Democrats win it all, in addition to the judges, they can continue to pursue the agenda against him because they think he's going to run again in 2024, and they want to do everything they can to stop him. They want audits. They want investigations. They want prosecutions. They're really hoping that the district attorney in Fulton County, Georgia, where there's a criminal investigation open into Donald Trump, that she will proceed and prosecute him. Does he really want Stacey Abrams to be the governor of Georgia if the prosecutor in Georgia decides to prosecute him? Does he really want Abrams to be in charge? I realize sometimes he's rash and he just says these things off the top of his head. I'm not concerned about Trump because Trump is Trump. I'm concerned about the simple-minded fools who do whatever he says. You can be offended that I just said simple-minded fools, but you and I all know there are people out there who, if Donald Trump told them to jump off a bridge today, they would do it. I assume they're a small minority. But look at the people who are aligned with Vernon Jones in Georgia. Vernon Jones is Clown Show Comedy Hour from DeKalb County, Georgia. He was a pro-abortion Democrat until earlier this year, and he flipped the switch, and suddenly he's a pro-life Republican. And there are people who, because Donald Trump told him Brian Kemp was bad, the governor of Georgia, they're like, oh, Vernon Jones, he's our man. Some of these people, which I find hilarious, were blasting Vernon Jones earlier, saying, well, this guy's not credible. He can't be the one. And then suddenly he comes out and they can't find anybody else to run against Brian. Oh, Vernon, he's our man. If he can't do it, no one can. You were saying no one could or Vernon couldn't months ago, you idiots. Then you're going to want to hand it to Stacey Abrams to nurse a grudge for the man who lost. And by the way, he lost. Nancy Pelosi is not going to be Speaker of the House after this year. She's done. You help the Democrats get elected, they're going to have someone even worse than Pelosi as Speaker of the House. The Democrats pick up a few more seats in the Senate, they're going to get rid of the filibuster. And then they'll make Puerto Rico a state, and they'll make Washington, D.C. a state, and they will pass the For the People Act. They will destroy this country. Why does President Trump want that? Again, maybe we're supposed to take him seriously, not literally. But you take him seriously, do you stay home next year? You're supposed to help him. You're supposed to help Republicans. You don't put SWAT stickers in your profile pics because then you're going to be a liability for the candidate. And you don't stay home. And if you feel like I'm heckling and badgering you, well, I'm going to stay home because you hurt my feelings. Well, then you're an idiot and you should be voting in the first place. But for Donald Trump to come out and tell you to stay home and just let the Democrats have it, it's almost like he needs the Republicans to lose so then he can say, yeah, see, it really was stolen. Because if Republicans win in 2022, it makes it less likely that 2020 was stolen. If the Democrats, they can stop him, but they can't stop the GOP overall. Really? They can't? I thought he was the most formidable force. I guess he needs it to keep the mythology alive. But you know what? If you want to keep the country alive, you're going to go vote Republican next year and not stay home. And the choice is all yours, and you got a year to decide, but you better decide right, because these elections, you see the Democrats trying to get rid of the filibuster. The only thing holding them back is Manchin and Sinema. The Republicans have a really good shot at picking up the Senate and stopping it. So the choice is yours.